Welcome back to Code Emily. Today we're going to talk about the useContext hook. Here I have a simple app up and running using Vite. We have state set inside the app.jsx file for if the user is logged in or not. And this can be toggled on click of this button. I have this on click set to just toggle between true and false. We're then passing this isLoggedIn prop into parent component. Inside of parent component, we're grabbing the isLoggedIn prop and we're passing that down to another component called child component. And then inside of child component, we have some logic that displays different text depending on your logged in state. Passing down this isLoggedIn prop from app to parent to component is something called prop drilling, and it should be avoided when possible. Prop drilling occurs when a parent component passes down props to a child, then that child to its own child, and so on. This can go on indefinitely, and it should be avoided as it's confusing and can cause bugs. One way to avoid prop drilling is with the useContext hook. So let's rewrite our application using useContext. The first thing that we need to do is create a file for our context. I'm going to create a file inside of assets, and I'm going to call it logincontext. This file will be necessary to import wherever we provide the context and wherever we consume the context. First, we're going to import create context from React. And then we'll write const login context equals create context. Create context expects a default value. For our scenario, our default value is going to be false because when you first navigate to the page, the default login state will be false. And then we'll export this login context so that we can then import it later in our files. Now we'll navigate back to our app.jsx file. And inside here, we're going to import login context. Like here, I'll do login context dot provider. And this is expecting a value. And our value is that state is logged in. So now if I put parent component inside of this provider, any React elements inside of this provider will have access to that context. So let's put it to work. If we go over to our child component, we're going to import two things. The first thing we'll import is the useContext hook from React. We'll import login context. And now we'll call our useContext hook with login context as the argument. So here I'll write const isLoggedIn equals useContext with login context as the argument. And now let's just console.log this. We go to our browser and we open up DevTools. It's already printed out isLoggedIn is set to false, but when I click this button, it's now set to true. You can see toggle it goes back and forth, amazing. So rather than have this props.isLoggedIn, I'll replace this with the variable isLoggedIn that we've defined. We no longer need props here. Get rid of this console. And if we go back to app.jsx, we no longer have to pass in isLoggedIn as a prop. We can just get rid of that and then make sure that we go into parent and get rid of this because we no longer have to pass this down to the child. And now our app is set up using context. In most case scenarios, state management tools like Redux and Flux aren't necessary anymore. Definitely consider using useContext instead. Make sure to only use context when necessary. It's easy to lose context if there are too many contexts floating around your app. Sometimes, if you're doing a lot of prop drilling, rather than add a useContext, it might actually be a good idea to refactor your application. One big disadvantage of useContext is when the context value changes, all components that use that context will re-render. This could potentially cause performance issue problems within your application, so definitely consider this when adding useContext to your app. Stay tuned for the next two videos I'll be putting out, one on creating custom hooks with useContext and another on context with theme and styles. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. There's tons more coming your way, so stay tuned.